Hey everyone, welcome to Tech and Tidy, the podcast about cleaning businesses and the systems that help keep them running. I'm your host, Brent Monson, and I'm joined today by Trey Brown, who is with Office Pride, a family-owned cleaning business. And Trey, you have 9 franchise units across Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. So you're growing. You've got
Yeah.
your hands in many pies. So today we do have kind of a focus for this episode. We're talking about facility managers, your clients and what they're looking for looking ahead into 2026. But yeah, maybe reflecting on how that relationship and how those expectations have changed. But I guess before we jump into that topic, do you want to just introduce yourself? Tell me a little bit about how you got your start in the cleaning industry and how you ended up where you're at now.
Yeah, absolutely. Office Pride is a franchise system. There are a lot of Office Prides across the country. We started our first location on the north side of Indianapolis in October of 2017. We are family owned, so my parents, Tom and Julie, are our owners. At the time, it was uh, the three of us, Tom, Julie, and myself, kind of spearheaded the beginning. I was 17 and had just left high school. I was working at a before and after school care program in the schools in our city, and had the opportunity to go down to owners training with my mom, Julie, and get a really cool early look at business ownership and what it takes to lead in this industry. Um, and from there, I mean, we started very small. So we had a couple bank locations and maybe one other office park in the beginning. We were cleaning ourselves. We had maybe one or two other employees. It has been a whirlwind roller coaster over the past 8 years, going from there to the point now where like you said, we have 9 different office locations across 3 states. We are pushing 300 employees, and we clean a little over 400 buildings across all those locations. Yeah, it's been crazy. We've gotten to the point now where my two younger brothers are involved in the business as well. Peyton serves as our director of business development, and then the youngest brother, Colton, serves as our director of administration. I serve in the role of director of customer experience, so I work in the operations arm of the business, specifically with our clients.
That's great. Well, if you don't mind, if we kind of explore that a
Yeah.
little bit, just the family-run businesses, it's intriguing to me. And we've interacted with a lot of companies that are family-owned. I feel like it's pretty common. But yeah, in your opinion, what do you like about working with your immediate family? And you know, are there any challenges or things that you had to work through that make running a business with your family a little different from other
Yeah.
from other businesses?
I think that family business comes with its own inherent challenges, but it really boils down to the challenges that you have as a family. Like starting a business, it's like when you're married. Having a kid is not going to fix your marriage. It makes it a little more difficult. Um, and starting a business with your family is not going to fix any family problems. We've just been blessed that our family all gets along very well. We work well together. So really, for us, it's been a blessing. We um, have a lot of fun, a little too much fun sometimes, and we get to spend a unreal amount of time together, which is just so uncommon in families when you go into the workforce. Like you never see each other. You have to get together for holidays, and I see my family on a daily basis. So it for us, I mean, it obviously has its challenges when you deal with conflict in any organization. It's challenging, and then when you add the family dynamic into it. It can be difficult to have tough conversations when it's with your mom or with your brother or your dad. So it adds its own level of complexity, but we've handled it gracefully, and most of the time we do pretty well at keeping those times of stress in check. But they are few and far between. We've got a good system together, a really good team surrounding us, and the family aspect has been more of a joy than a challenge.
That's great to hear. You haven't had to fire your parents or anything like that.
No, no, really, more realistically, they haven't had to fire me, so
Yeah.
it has not gotten anywhere close to that. No.
No, that's good. That's good to hear. Thanks for letting us get a little inside peek into how that works. Well, transitioning, I guess, a little bit to our topic of working with your clients, working with facility managers. In a conversation earlier, you had shared that you felt like expectations of facility managers has changed. So when you started back in 2017, what was it like? And working with your clients today, how have things evolved since then?
Yeah, I think that the expectations in the janitorial industry are really starting to, in a way, mimic the way that expectations and times have changed in society. Like we are growing into a more community-based and relationships-based society, and the industry's following in suit. So, whereas when we started in 2017, the um, operational ability of the company was more important, like the ability to serve the client in the way that we say we're going to was more important than that relationship that you have with the client. We've seen it really transition where we would like to say that we're always perfect, and we're not. We're human led company, and they have floor cleaning robots, but they don't have cleaning robots. So there is human error attached to our industry. And having that relationship really softens the blow when our team falls short or when we fall short. And that I would say has been the absolute biggest change. Like we have gone from a world where the expectation is it's done right the first time, and that's what you're judged on, to it's more about how you handle when things don't go right.
Yeah. So would you say that being available and having some lifeline that your clients can reach you at, that like the communication availability has gone up in the expectations of your clients? They expect to be able to reach you more quickly, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah, technology is a blessing and a curse where, I grew up in the rise of technology, so it's the only world that I know, but hearing stories about times before cell phones when, when you went home at the end of the night, you were home, and for the most part, and it has changed. So there is this kind of unspoken, sort of spoken expectation of 24/7 availability, especially in a leadership position. But we use a lot of tools that help support that and take the burden off a little bit. And I know that we'll get into that as we continue the conversation, but technology from that end has been a huge blessing and has made a huge difference in the way that we handle those incoming requests.
Yeah, I mean, we can lead right into it. What kind of touch points, what kind of information do your clients expect to be able to get? And is it and what modes of communication do you find your clients like? Are they still relying mostly on email, or do they this podcast is sponsored by Clean Smarts, a software where they have a login or a portal. Is that getting more common? What do they like to do as far as modes of communication?
Yeah, so we it really does depend on the client and their preferences. You've got some clients that have been in their roles for years, and you know that you do have your few that prefer a phone call or they prefer an email. But we started to see this transition before we, as a company, started with Clean Smarts, where we were getting more text communication, more instant messaging. Like they want the instant um, response and knowing that their concerns have been heard. And that's where our use of Clean Smarts has made a huge impact with the issue resolution system. So we have customers that have their customer portal, they can submit an issue, and we've set up processes internally where those issues go to the people that need to see them. So not only do they go to the cleaner that's cleaning that individual site, but they go to that person's area manager, then the office's branch manager. They fall on my desk. And then our owners, Tom and Julie, they monitor them on a daily basis. So it's been a really cool experience going into some, when we have a larger client start up with us, I typically go and schedule a walkthrough to develop their custom checklist, get them set up in the system, and have some conversation about our process. And it hasn't been uncommon for me to sit down in that meeting, get them set up, and open a test issue from their portal. And while I'm sitting with them, I'll get a phone call from my dad, from Tom, asking, "Hey, what's going on? I just saw an issue notification come through. I know that you're there." And it almost seems staged. Like it's a really fun conversation to have with that new customer when they're like, "Really?" They all know who Tom is, so they're like, your dad's calling you while you're sitting here. Did he not?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's important to us to know how our customers are feeling, and the technology has given us the ability to get that pulse on each and every customer, even as we continue to grow well beyond our means to manage it all by ourselves."
If you're a new listener to Tech and Tidy, this show is presented by Clean Smarts, which our team created to solve a lot of the problems you hear discussed on these episodes. Clean Smarts is a cleaning management software platform designed to help building service contractors and janitorial teams run like clockwork. Whether you're scheduling crews across multiple sites, tracking hours, managing equipment, or improving profitability, Clean Smarts brings it all together with an intuitive mobile app that employees love. It's one easy system so teams can show up, get the job done, and improve the quality of their service. Check out cleansmarts.com to learn more. Yeah, how do you handle those clients that kind of prefer the old way of doing things, that maybe don't want to use, a messaging system or issue tracking, that maybe they just want to call you on the phone? I guess,
Yeah.
are you able to kind of serve both ends of the spectrum in terms of technology savvy?
Yeah, so our we accommodate what the client prefers when it comes to mode of communication for them, and we have the leadership in place to handle that. But one of our metrics that we track is average time to close an issue. Average time to resolve a customer complaint is really the better elaboration on it. So when that complaint comes in, if it's not through Clean Smarts, it's the expectation of the leader that receives the complaint to put it in as an internal issue in Clean Smarts, so that it's still, the time is still tracked. We're still able to get the before and after photos and the notes on completion, and we're able to hold that accountability with the team when it comes to dealing with those issues. So the historical tracking is huge for us, and when you're dealing with this relationship based resolution process with these clients, that relationship is important to them. Having the data to back up and to know your track record is important. So knowing if they're reaching out about the same bathroom multiple times over the course of a few weeks, we're able to see that at a glance and know that we're dealing with a common issue here, and it's either a coaching opportunity with our team, or it's something where we might need to expand on scope or change the frequency or the time at the clean where we perform that task. But if it was all just through text or email or phone call, that data gets lost immediately, no matter who it is. Especially when you have multiple leaders that the clients have access to um, at multiple stages of the organization that have multiple views throughout the organization. It's been important to us that we have a centralized system where all of those issues are tracked. So yeah, we rely heavily on it, and it's one of our non-negotiables with our leadership team. Whether the customer puts it in organically themselves, or we have to put it in based on a phone call that we have with them. It has been something that we've heavily pushed with our clients because the more that go through the system, the easier it is on our leaders' workload. Um, but with that being said, you do have your clients that they've been in their roles for 10, 20, 30 years, spanning back to times before we relied so heavily on technology, and they have a way of doing things that works for them, that fits their workflow and what they do throughout the day. And we're here to solve headaches, not to create new ones. So we don't want to put them in a position where they're having to do something that they wouldn't normally do.
Yeah. Would you say that the larger clients that you have, that there's more of an expectation that you're using some kind of tools or technology to communicate with them or to coordinate your work?
Um, you would definitely expect that, and we've seen a lot of it. But it surprisingly still does depend on that person that's in that head seat
Hmm.
at that organization. So most of our large clients, yes, there is an expectation because there may be multiple decision makers or leaders within their organization that they want to have access to submit those tickets. So like we have the majority of our high profile clients is what we refer to them as internally. Uh, the majority of the high profile clients have multiple key decision makers within their organization that have access to submit issues. But we do have two or three of our high profiles that they want to stick with the text or the email or the phone call. Or what we've seen more recently as well is that they have internal reporting processes, their own ticketing system, that they don't want their team to then have to go and submit tickets in multiple areas. So we're working through that with them. Where what's the process for that? So do we get our leader access to their system so that they can translate those issues into ours that are related to our scope, or do we go in and oh um, sorry, do we go in and have them put them into systems, which adds its own level of issue. But yeah, I would say the majority want to have access to the system. But yeah, you always have your outliers.
Yeah, do you encounter that fairly often, or is it the small minority where they've got a system in place that they're asking you to kind of utilize, and you have to bridge your own system with theirs?
It, um, in the grand scheme of things, when you look at all of the accounts that we have, it's a pretty small number, but it feels like a lot more than it is. We've got at least one in each of our offices that's how they want to operate. So um, having so many locations that we serve, like when you look down at percentages, it's like a percent of a percent. But when it comes to the added responsibility on our team, it feels a lot heavier than it actually is.
Hmm. But it sounds like you've arrived at a place where you feel like you've got a pretty good handle on that, and managing relationships, managing customer service requests it sounds like you've got a really robust process in place. As
Yeah,
you, oh, sorry, go ahead.
we just have a great team.
Mm.
Is what we our leadership team is excellent at what they do, and without the buy-in with the leadership team, it would be literally impossible. So I give all the credit to them for that process working. We have a good like written process. Like on paper, it sounds great, but without that team, it would be nothing.
Yeah. So, for some of our listeners that, maybe they're more toward 2017, right?
Yeah.
The operations that you had at the beginning, they're smaller, they're looking to grow, they see what you've been able to do in these 8 years. What's a piece of advice you would give them to kind of, either avoid painful experiences that you've had, or that might give them an edge as they seek to, provide great customer service to their clients?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing for us, change is scary, especially the larger of an operation that you have and the more pieces that you have moving, it's harder to make that change. But the biggest piece that we were looking at is that, the world is trending in a certain direction with technology, and you can either choose to um, be a leader in that change, or you can choose to be left behind. I mean, you look um, at businesses like Amazon that just completely revolutionized the way that the world does shopping, and it's sad because you get a lot of larger organizations that kind of gobble up these smaller local businesses, but the more local businesses that get on board with that technology, the more likely you are to capture that customer base. And we see it in our industry too. So it is all about just keeping up with those times and trying to find a way to make it fit in the way that you run your operation. And it doesn't have to be a costly or complicated process. We have a lot of moving pieces and a lot of locations that we serve. So for us, it's got to be a little more complex than it would be if we were running a single city operation, even at the same size. But like, even if you're not at a point where you want to make that investment to add a system that's dedicated um, to running that for you, there's so many tools online that are so easy to use to create your own workflows to be able to get a workaround into that. I mean, even if it's having a dedicated email inbox and using a tool like Zapier to create an automatic workflow from that inbox into a spreadsheet for your team to track, or taking advantage of things like Google or Microsoft Forms that then automatically go out to the correct leader for that site. It adds a little bit of complexity in the setup, for sure. Like, investing in a system that's dedicated to it is definitely worth it when you're at the position that you can in your organization. But there are tools out there for people to keep up with those times and with those trends without really having to invest anything at all. So I would say just get on that train as soon as possible, because you'll hit a point like with the Bitcoin boom and with the Amazon delivery revolution where like you'll get left in the dust, and new companies that try to mimic what they're doing now, why choose them over what's already working and what's already good? So the sooner that you can get on that bandwagon and make a difference in the way that you serve your clients, the better.
I think that's great advice. Well, on that note, I want to thank you, Trey, for your time. We'll leave it there, and so for our listeners, be sure to follow Tech and Tidy for more conversations with owners, operators, and innovators in the cleaning industry. We release new episodes every month. And yeah, Trey, just want to thank you for your time. Thanks for your insights. And yeah, you've done an amazing thing. You and your family have grown your business, and what a great story. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much.